In the 18th century, everybody understood that you went to war in order to get stuff. Why else would you do it, right? As the modern culture of ideology emerged in the 19th century, people wouldn't accept that idea any longer. You didn't fight wars for stuff. You fought wars for justice, or communism or fascism, or democracy, or nationhood, or something like that, right? It's not just that we think the drive of history requires us to fight for those ends. It's also that we think the morality of warfare requires us to fight for those ends. That is, we don't think we can justify all the killing we're doing unless we're doing it for democracy. They didn't think of war that way in the 18th century, or really through the 19th century for many purposes. They thought of war as a legal procedure. It was a way of resolving conflicts. It was a perfectly legitimate way of deciding who would get what. Now, the idea for modern lawyers that you would sit around arguing about questions like that, what does the winner get? You know, we're going to give them this province, we're going to give them the oil rights or something like that. It sounds horrific, right? But the paradox, I feel like the painful paradox of 18th century warfare in particular, is that by making war out to be a legal procedure, understanding it to be a legal procedure, they actually succeeded in keeping it within limits. A legal procedure is something that's done in an orderly way. It has rules. You can follow the rules. The parties involved were willing to accept the verdict of battle. If there was a winner, the parties involved, and most especially the diplomats who crafted the treaties that came out of these wars, were prepared to grant the benefits of victory to the victor, as determined by battle. Now, there were many complications in this, but the remarkable truth about the 18th century is that there was an immense success in keeping warfare contained to the battlefield and in managing to establish very secure, very well accepted political settlements that arose out of victory in war. So that it was much less necessary than it became by the middle of the 19th century to fight wars of devastation. That's the problem. I mean, that's been our problem in Iraq and Afghanistan. We can't figure out how to end the damn thing. And that's because if you're pursuing the kind of absolute ends we're pursuing, there's nothing to negotiate about. You can't bargain. The beauty of conceiving anything as the pursuit of property, of acquisition, is that it permits bargaining. And bargaining is not an offense in the eyes of God. It's not a fundamental violation of great humanitarian ideals, at least not necessarily. It's a way of bringing peace. And in that sense, too, I think we really could do worse than to go back to some of the basic assumptions of 18th century war in a careful way. I mean, not saying that we're going to go and seize Silesia by force any longer. We're not going to do that. We get into the war. It would be better if there were no wars, but once we get in, we got to get out again. And that's where thinking a little bit more like in the way that 18th century lawyers thought might not be a bad thing.